You're listening to The Word on the Streets with Joe Bingham, Jason Tasker, and Raj Pujada.
Hello guys, welcome back to The Word on the Streets. Just me and Jason here this week. White
Hello.
Boy special. It's the podcast we always wanted in the first place. We finally got rid of him. Brexit means Brexit. How are you, Jason? You alright?
Yeah, I just feel a lot better now. Raj isn't here.
Yeah.
Sorry, Raj. I'm not even saying his name anymore. He's dead to me.
There's less tension in the room, it feels like, because we're not constantly having to second guess what we're about to say. Now we can just let the flagrant racism fly, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just back to where it all began, basically.
Yeah, I mean, it is just like us being back home, essentially, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because we don't have them where we come. That's not
We
true.
don't.
I'm from Birmingham.
Well, we have them, but we just don't like them being there. do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
so, yeah, clip all of that. Send it to Raj. And, you know, send him...
Send him my regards.
Send him my regards. Yeah. How have you been anyway? All right?
Yeah, not too bad. I felt like when I got back off holiday, I was revitalised and rejuvenated, and I just feel tired again. What's all that
Sucks it
about?
out, yeah, a bit, don't it? Just life
Yeah.
in general. Yeah.
It just kind of grinds you down, doesn't it? I feel like that's the main issue for me.
Well, you had like a nice proper holiday. Because we spoke about mine and Raj's last week.
Yeah.
Going around America, but what was it you were doing again? Let the people know.
So basically, I was on essentially a catamaran. It's called Yacht Week, but essentially it's a catamaran. And you're on there with your friends, maybe people who aren't your friends, people who you've just met.
Enemies and villains?
Enemies, no. Acquaintances,
Okay.
future friends.
It'd be more interesting if you were on it with enemies, though.
It would then it'd be like kind of a hostile takeover. Like you'd be like
Yeah.
a sea pirate,
Like
essentially.
Under Siege.
Under
Steven
Siege.
Seagal. You ever see that film? You ever see Under Siege?
Was that the one with Steven Seagal?
Yeah. Sick film. You ever see
Yeah.
it?
Who else? Is Morgan Freeman in that one?
No. This was like Steven Seagal.
Because there's another one like that with Morgan Freeman. Do you know when like they used to do the movie posters and it would always be like fire, like flames.
Okay.
And like
Oh yeah, I
war
think I know
and-
the one you're talking about. Now, Under Siege was basically some terrorists take over a ship, and Steven Seagal plays the chef of the ship, who can just think he's been Mossad trained or something, because obviously all chefs are.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
He takes him down. He does the business. Yeah, there's a woman in it who he has zero chemistry with throughout, but obviously gets off of her because.
It's just like a story of
executive producer. So, but yeah,
That's what happens when you're a player, innit? You don't need to have chemistry.
I saw an interview with Steven Seagal once where he said that his dog spoke to him and saved him from a house fire.
Yeah, I heard
And the person interviewing him was like, "What? Like the house is on fire?" And he barked at you, and he said, "No, the house is on fire." And he woke me up by saying, "Steven, the house is on fire. We need to get out." And the people interviewing him were just like, sick.
No, that was the
Okay.
DMT that you took. Steve.
Honestly, mental geezer. Yeah.
My granddad used to absolutely love Steven Seagal because he was like he was into martial arts. My granddad, and he was a third down at Aikido.
Okay.
Since found out that's not really like one of the martial
That's
arts.
the stick one, isn't it?
No, it's the one where you like throw people, but also use like other people's.
Oh, you use their
weight.
momentum.
Yeah, and that's
I've
what
seen
Steven
that.
Seagal's like known
Yeah.
for. But then it's also, I think a little bit of it is like bullshit, and you can't really use it in the real world.
I think a lot of it's bullshit, to be fair.
Yeah.
Like, even like, would I be right in saying karate was the first one that got big westernized?
Yeah, Karate Kid,
Kung Fu. But like, if you're in the street, and you see a man just get into a fighting stance, ready to scrap, obviously, if he's got
What's that fighting stance that
well,
you just did there?
I'm blocked off.
Yeah,
innit?
that looked
But-
like you were holding a sawn-off shotgun.
like I was holding two ice creams waiting for someone.
yeah.
Nah,
That's your fighting stance, is it? 2.99s and a flake.
I don't need a stance, mate. It's all in the hips.
Yeah,
But
it's natural.
If someone got into a stance like crouching tiger like that in the street, you'd be like, "Fuck off, mate." So I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think it works all of the time, does it? Especially if someone's like you say, in a street fight. It's more like you need self-defense then, isn't it? Rather than if someone's going to drag you to the floor and they're twice the size of you, what real chance? Even if you were trying to like choke them or something, their neck would be that big that you probably wouldn't even be able to reach around it.
Well, let's say, because when the obviously the UFC is very popular now, but when it first started, it wasn't as popular. It was just a weird kind of, what it was originally. Did you watch it in the early
I used
days?
to watch them.
Yeah. 'Cause my old man used to have all the old
absolutely
DVDs and that.
mental.
But it was what it said, and it was the ultimate fighting championship. And you'd have like a boxer against a judo black belt.
Yeah, it was like some people. It was like Mortal Kombat, wasn't it?
It was,
like,
and it
or
was
Street Fighter, like that kind of vibe where this person is skilled. It's not mixed martial arts. It's like this person is skilled in one thing.
What is better? And I
Mental.
think that was better though, because it was like, it meant that back in the day you'd have someone like Chuck Liddell who was like, if you come near me, I'm gonna knock the head off your shoulders, and he'd go up against someone whose whole plan was just get him on the ground, and I'll just jiu-jitsu the life out of him, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas now everyone's kind of got wise to like, I should probably get good at all of it. So if you were in the early days of the UFC, what's the martial art that tail of the tape comes up at the start? What's the martial art that you want to see on there and think, yeah, this guy ain't got a fucking clue, mate?
Well, I think judging by the results, it was jiu-jitsu, wasn't it? Because that's what everyone won the fights with. Mm-hmm. Even if you were like half, because it was just easier to submit people because people just didn't know what the submissions were.
That is true.
But like, I've seen some videos of ones where like geezers are getting smashed in the bollocks, stuff like that. Some guys have got like trainers on. It's absolutely crazy.
You've seen Pride as well.
Yeah.
In Japan, where you're allowed to volley someone in the head while he's on the floor.
Kick them in the head.
Crazy. I want to come up against somebody who's like I turn up, and it's like, this guy is a K1 kickboxer. I feel like that makes you versatile. So I want to be that guy, and I want to come up against a guy who is a black belt in capoeira.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Do, like who, like
remember the guy with dreadlocks from
on
Tekken?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I want
of,
him just doing head spins,
and then you can just literally run up and volley him like a football.
A bit of dream. My old man used to train with this geezer, mad guy. What was his name? I've met him a couple of times. It's a guy called Steve Morris, basically. So I think I told you a bit about my old man before, and he's like, he fought like his whole life from the age of like 12.
From the womb.
Yeah, he punched his way out of the womb. But like from the age of 12, they were like, you're already a brick shit house. Like he was just bigger than all the other kids. So he played football, played rugby, whatever. He got into judo, and then just from there got into like different mixed martial arts and that. So he'd done it his whole life. He met this geezer, old Steve Morris, I reckon, when he was in his early 40s, my old man. And this Steve Morris just goes, everything you've ever learned, throw it out the window. I'm going to teach you how to fight.
This is like the Karate Kid, isn't
yeah.
it?
But with 40-year-olds. And my old man's like...
I hope someone fucking intervenes in my life at 40. It doesn't even do it in a martial arts sense. Just comes up to me and goes, just forget everything you ever...
You wouldn't...
I'd be like, what? Are you going to clear my brain? Please, be my guest. The amount of shit that's in my head, I wish someone would just fucking press reset.
Nah. You wouldn't have wanted Steve Morris to teach you on life skills.
Steve Morris reset button.
He was very, very rich at one point, and then he got it all scammed out of
in
him by
knowledge?
a woman. He's still rich in knowledge, mate, honestly. But yeah, so he goes... I think my old man found him on like the internet as well. Like, weird. Just found some videos of him. Next thing you know, he's booked to go on a course with this geezer, and he takes all the guys that we used to like fight in the gym with. By this point, I was still like a kid, so I'd go to the gym with him and fight him, but I ain't going to this thing to get the shit kicked out of me. So he went with a few of his other mates. One was the European Jiu-Jitsu champion at the time. The other one, I think, was due to have a title fight for the European Kickboxing Championship. So these guys are like fighting
elite,
proper brick shit house lads, yeah. They go to this place and they're like, Steve Morris is like 5'9", like looks like an old beetle, like he could have been Ringo. And he's like, yeah, forget everything, blah blah blah. And they're a bit like, all right. My old man comes back from this thing. It was on a Sunday. Monday comes. He had to phone in sick to work because he couldn't get out of bed. And I went into the bedroom to look at his leg. And this geezer had been doing leg kicks on him. And it looked like my old man had been in a car crash. And after that, my old man was like, you forget everything I've taught you up to this point. We're going to learn how to fight. like this mad old bastard that I found on the internet.
What was he actually skilled in? Just
Beating the shit out of geezers, mate. Like honestly, he was a psycho. Like he told us before. It was like,
have you ever seen that guy? It's like a guy on either TikTok or Instagram that does the same thing where he's like fucking shadow boxing with himself and shit like that.
Oh, what? Yeah, but the guy who does it super high speed and he's just punching like fucking sofas and that. Yeah, but this geezer, he's a full-on psycho. He'd be like, if I'm walking down the street, I'm looking at anyone coming towards me like a potential assailant. So he walks down the street. I mean, like what a Terminator!
What a fucking way to live! Can you imagine how stressful that is?
But he's walking down like, you know how the Terminator calculates combat. Yeah, that's him. Like he's looking at a man and he's like, he's got a weak chin. That's a straight right to the jaw. Her expose the neck. Karate chop her. Like he didn't discriminate genders. He's like, if she's got a knife,
low head count.
You know what I mean? But it was mad guy. He said that he basically got sick of fighting in like the confines of like a organised tournament fighting because of all the rules.
For rules basically.
Yeah, but this guy then he went travelling all around Asia. This is genuinely how he told this story. He went travelling all around Asia, and every town he rolled into, he'd basically just walk into the dojo, and he'd be like, "Who's head of this dojo? Who's the hardest bastard in this dojo?" And they'd wheel this guy out, and he'd be like, I'm the top Dan in this dojo. I've been teaching everyone such and such version of karate. And Steve would go, do you want to spar then? And he'd beat the fuck out of him. And then he'd just leave and go to the next town and just do the same again.
It's literally like fucking Street Fighter, isn't it? Where like you're flying from like country to country. It's like going to take on Sagat in fucking like deepest China. And then there's like, who's a guy who used to climb up the fucking wall. What was his name?
But every time Steve's finisher move, he just grabs him, just fucking punches the head off him.
Finish him.
This geezer's got special moves and everything, and Steve's just like, none of that bollocks.
There was that guy on Street Fighter, was he? He had like the blades on his hand and he like climb up the fucking fence.
I played more Mortal Kombat, I think. Remember, I was always Jax with the robot arm.
Yeah, Jax was pretty good. I was always the guy who was the fire guy.
I remember. You know what it was? It's because I used to play it around my mate's house, but he was a little fucking nerd. So I'd always just be like, I'll pick the character that I know a handful of moves with. So that was always Jax. But this geezer, he'd be constantly trying combos like a little sweat. And then if he couldn't get him, he'd pause the game so he could look at his fucking controls again.
Yeah, like that's a bit long.
Mate. Just press B.
Or Sub-Zero, he was pretty decent.
Yeah, Sub-Zero.
Or Scorpion.
Well. Is he the one with the hat? And he throws out.
Oh, that's Raiden.
Okay. No.
I was thinking of which one... Mate, there was some fucking quality ones on Street Fighter, like Blanca. Can you remember him?
Was it?
He was just like the fucking experiment gone wrong. He was just like some massive guy who looked like the Hulk.
Oh, not the big. Yeah.
He looked like the Hulk, but with like.
Yeah.
That is
never explained.
What a character! It's just like a character. Like, look, he was just an experiment.
It's the Hulk with a mohawk, basically.
Yeah, he was a ginger Hulk, basically.
We had did you watch the Street Fighter film?
Yeah, with Kylie Minogue
and Jean-Claude Van Damme. God, that was a terrible film.
It's that terrible that it's good.
Yeah, I watched it back a few years ago. I was on holiday somewhere and it was on in the hotel, and it's not.
I'll tell you what's worse, the Mortal Kombat film.
Who's in that?
No one.
Oh,
That's why it's so dog shit.
Okay, fair enough.
Oh man.
Yeah, I also saw another film. Where the fuck was? Mate, I want to try and find it on IMDb, but I'm never going to be able to. It was based on a video game that I've never heard of, and it was like this beach volleyball martial arts game, apparently. And
this is definitely on a porn site.
Yeah, like, this was because I googled it and I was like, "What the fuck is this?" And it was like a game that was on like Sega for years, apparently.
Really?
And yeah, it's beach volleyball martial arts, but the film. The film
this sounds like it was made on drugs.
Yeah, the film is literally just like any obscure fit bird you can think of. So like Holly Valance is in it from that time period. It's just them in bikinis beating.
I think I've seen this film.
It's god awful. Like it is. It's one of the worst things I've seen.
I'll try and find it. I feel like I've seen this.
So we've established Beach Spike.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you. The other problem I was having when I watched it as well is it was in Turkish with really bad subtitles, so I didn't follow much of what was going on as well.
This one looks like some Asian. Was Holly Valance it? Dead or Alive?
Yeah, Dead or Alive.
Dead or Alive. So I played the game of that before.
Was it beach volleyball martial arts. Have I got that right? Or did
It
they
was
incorporate
it was
beach
very
volleyball?
random. Like I can remember playing that game in the arcade.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't a fan of the movie, to be honest. It wasn't Holly Valance's finest work.
I can remember
Obviously
playing
was
that.
Kiss Kiss.
So it's based on the, yeah. I don't think they made the dead. That's so random. They used to. I feel like I remember it now. Yeah, where you just fight in like some random places.
Also, this is what I now remember because I did look it up on IMDb. The reviews were great. So yeah, obviously, you know, of that era, Jamie Presley, Devon Aoki, you know, Steve Aoki's sister that was in Fast and Furious.
Yeah. Is that Steve Aoki's sister?
Yeah.
They got a pretty solid lineup, didn't they, for the time? But it was like FHM.
Pretty much, yeah. But then the reviews are basically just so like this one sums it up quite well. 6 out of 10 teenage boys are gonna love it. And like all the reviews are just the plot's a bit loose.
You couldn't make this anymore.
Yeah, plot's a bit loose, but the arse is everywhere. That's pretty much the reviews. Yeah, I would recommend.
I didn't realise that Devon Aoki was. I didn't realise that was Steve Aoki's sister.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, okay. She's 41. She looks good for 41.
Yeah.
Holly Valance, Jesus Christ, she doesn't look good for 40.
Does she not?
No, she's gone like square-headed.
And she got a famous sister, Holly Valance.
No, are you thinking of Jennifer?
Holly Valance was in Neighbours, isn't it?
Yeah.
She's married to
some like
tech multi-billionaire.
Yeah, she's just married into money now.
Nah, I reckon she was a star in her own right, mate. The amount of money she should have got off that album that I can't remember the name
Kiss
of.
Kiss?
Yeah, man. Good tune, though.
It is.
Good
Holly
tune.
Valance was like up there when you were at school, wasn't it? It was like in terms of like
100%.
a
It was
crush.
Holly Valance. It was
Rachel Stevens.
and I mean,
Megan Fox.
Beyonce came straight out of left field. I'm not gonna lie. Like when I was a teenager and that Crazy in Love video came out, I was taken aback. You know, I was lost in the sauce. But yeah, FHM. My mum used to buy me FHM.
It's weird now, like how, especially with all this shit recently, like you look back at those magazines and they were fucking crazy, really. It started off with like Max Power with like the cars and stuff like that, and then it just developed into some like proper laddie mag.
Yeah, but the thing that used to crack me up about like my mum buying me FHM is all of our mates thought it was really weird. But I did genuinely like read the articles in it because it was quite interesting when you get to like a
FHM wasn't too bad. It was kind of like a mix between
it was like tits films,
entertainment, and clothes,
tech.
fashion.
Yeah,
that kind of thing. So it was like it had a little bit of credibility.
Yeah, it wasn't just like them mad ones
like
that
Nuts
were laminated.
or what was the other one?
Zoo.
It's just like they were like laminated by the time you'd had them from you.
Oh mate, there was a kid in my year at school, and his little sister, like I think it was like, I don't know, maybe a couple months after she turned 18, was on page 3 in the Star or the Sport or something. And he was distraught, man.
They're not gonna things like that don't really age that well, do they? Although, like you look at,
is page 3 still a thing?
No,
I can't remember
they sacked it off because it was like obviously pretty
but I can't remember the last
pretty
time I
demeaning.
opened a
But like if you
newspaper.
look at like Keely, what's her name? She's in the latest series of, been in the last few series of Ted Lasso. So some people make
Keely Jones or whatever.
Keely,
the one who plays Keely Jones.
No. I can't remember her name, but I know when I was watching Ted Lasso, I was like, I know her from somewhere.
Yeah,
it's like, oh yeah, page 3 when I was a kid.
I suppose it was just like when it wasn't that long ago.
Keely Hazel.
Oh, is it Keely Hazel?
Keely Hazel.
We were just trying to make her sound a bit more exotic.
Yeah, Keely has Hazel.
I think it's just like it wasn't that long ago is the thing, and it was like what 20 years ago, and you know there was the whole thing that people still talk about on Twitter to this day, innit? That like the Sun had a countdown in the paper for Emma Watson turning 16. Like I swear to God, like when she was Hermione in Harry Potter, they had a countdown for her turning 16.
But that is the Sun, isn't it? They just got
But like you remember who's the bird that was in Hearsay? The Asian one that was in Hearsay.
Oh, Mylene Class.
Yeah, like remember when she went into I'm a Celebrity and all she was doing was like showering in a
Showering,
bikini.
yeah,
It was on the front page every day.
It's mad, isn't it,
it's
really?
like sex sold back then.
It's weird, isn't it? Because now, like if you have children, you're thinking, what are they going to grow up like? oh my God, they're being exposed to so many different things on TikTok. And then you think what we were exposed to when we were just exposed to mad stuff, but it was just in magazines, and it was probably less accessible, but more, I don't know. I think it was more.
I think it's because we were
glamorized, I would say.
We were on the verge of a new dawn, weren't we, with the internet, basically.
Yeah.
Like, when the internet first became more widely accessible while we were at school. Like, you had dial-up in your house and that. But for the most part, all the internet still was like shitty online flash games and porn. That's kind of all the internet
chat rooms.
was, really. Yeah, and like I think it was just we were at the back end of porn magazines and stuff like that, and Page 3 and stuff. Because now it's like, you've got to go into some ropey shops to find those magazines still being printed.
Yeah, I think a couple of my local news agents, they have them, but they're like really tucked away in the corner.
Yeah, but you used
to. I have to ask them behind the counter.
Yeah. Have you ordered it?
Look, mate, have you got it? Okay, where's my subscription?
You used to have like the top 2 shelves of every corner.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Yeah, and it would be like.
And it'd be a lot, like it'd be a full on.
Yeah, it'd
be like
the
ones
DVDs.
that had to have the laminate cover over the top,
yeah,
but it was greyed out as well. So
greyed out, like so just have like a wall of grey.
Yeah, because it'd be like sexy 60s, and it'd be someone's nan getting railed. Like it's like it was wild, man. And you're just a kid, like, all right.
Yeah, you just don't. Why did they put it on the top? Like, what? Because you couldn't reach it, or you couldn't look at it.
I always had the assumption when I was a kid that it's because we couldn't reach it. Because imagine if it was on the bottom shelf, kids would just run in, grab it, and run.
Yeah, they're like, oh, Mum, I'm just going to collect this book on dinosaurs. Next thing you know, there are dinosaurs there, but not the kind you're looking for.
Did you ever have the thing as well where like we'd go and play football in the park with some of like the older lads, and they'd hide magazines in the bushes.
Yeah. I can remember like when I was playing on the field, like they bought like a porn mag out, and they were like showing me pages, and I was just like a kid. I just didn't really have a clue.
Yeah,
they were just like, this is what I was just like, I don't really know what to say.
It just didn't really appeal, innit? Like I was thinking this before. I thought it's probably a few years ago where I was like, I can't remember. Obviously, you got male grooming in that, but I can't remember what it was like to look down and it just be nothing going on. You know what I mean? Just like baby smooth all the way. I can't remember it anymore because it's been so long since you've had hairy legs and you've had hair everywhere and stuff like that. But it's like, I also like when you're a kid and just none of that appeals to you at all, you know what I mean? Like a sex scene would come in a film and you're just mortified that your parents are in the same room and stuff like that. Whereas,
yeah, it's not like enjoyable, is it?
Nah.
And it's not, and when you're that age, it doesn't really, I can't really think of it registering to like 30, like 13 anyway, because that's the thing, you're a child, aren't you? You aren't a man. Yeah. You're not a boy or a girl, really, you're just a child.
Mate, there was a couple when we were in year 8, I think, so it would have been like 12. And we went on like a school, like residential trip, and this couple were banging in my year at 12.
That's mental,
and
isn't
I
it,
remember,
really?
I remember like my thought process at the time, literally being like I'm not arsed. No, I was literally just like, I'm not arsed, like because at that
keep
age,
the noise down.
Yeah, at that age, I was just like, bit weird. Like that's a lot. That's quite daunting.
Yeah. Come on, you got plenty of time for that when you're older.
You know what I mean?
It's weird though, isn't it? But that's the thing, when you're younger, you get, especially when you're having those things projected at you. You want to do those things as fast as, like, you're like, oh my God, I can't wait to have a pint in a pub. And you're fantasizing about what it's going to be like. Like, oh my God, it's going to be so amazing when I'm older.
It's weird to me though that I did do the thing that kids do, which is when you're a kid, I did think I can't wait to be a grown up, but it just wasn't that big on my radar until like probably until like 15.
Yeah.
Before then, I was like, all right.
You didn't realise how good you've got it when you're a kid, do you? Really?
Yeah.
School's pretty.
It's a piece of piss.
Pretty chilling, really, isn't it? Really.
I still remember the first time I looked at porn, and I think I was in primary school. I'd just heard the word, and I literally just typed in porn.com, and it came up, and it said, you must be over 18 to enter this website. So I clicked off it because I was like, oh, okay. but like the message that said you must be over 18 was a woman just fucking legs spread with you must be 18 hiding what needed to be hid. And I just remember being like, Okay. Not
this is
for
not
me,
the right
then.
time.
But I searched it at my uncle's house on his computer, and then he was trying to clear some memory on his computer and saw that on his search history, and it was only ever me that went round his. So he like rang my mum, and he was like, "Just thought you should know."
My thing was like I used to go around my friends he was probably like a couple of years older than me at school, and then like whenever his parents would go out, we'd be like, right, he had cable because my family weren't
That's the dream.
rich enough to have cable.
Yeah, that's the dream.
Not that they were super well off or anything, but they had cable. And then when they go out, it was a 10-minute preview at 10 on Television X.
Oh yeah.
And you'd be like, right, I've got 10 minutes now. If not something even that hardcore, it would just be a woman with a...
Well, we used to have to get by trying to explore our sexuality with what was essentially soft porn.
Yeah,
like,
it was soft porn. It was a woman there with the tits out
someone
saying...
topless in a film.
Yeah, like going, yeah, come on,
That used to be a
you're
website,
a naughty
though.
boy.
That used to be a website, Dr. Skin. I'm sure that's what I've seen it on another film. There's a film, it's a comedy film where someone comes up with an idea to invent a website where you log every time there's nudity in a film, and someone was like, that's already been done, it's called Dr. Skin.
Really?
So like someone had set up a website and it's an archive of like every film, and it would be like at 42 minutes 18 seconds
Some mad perv.
Jamie Lee Curtis gets her tits out, and people are like, better get down to Blockbusters and rent that then. Like, we were starved, mate, back in the day. Now there's too much of it, and kids are addicted to it, and it's weird.
What was the porn site that you used to first porn site? I was trying to think. I'm sure one was called something like the Hun or something like that.
I swear to God, I'm sure one of them was called Dog Fart.
Dog Fart.
I'm not even joking. Don't look it up now, you mad bastard. But I'm sure there was.
Type that in.
I'm sure I heard of it or something.
What was it called? I can't remember what it was called.
I mean, the hub's been a staple for most people for a long, long time. A long
You just
time.
go on some mad...
Well, for me, it was porn.com at 8 years old, mate. You know what I mean? I never left brand loyalty. That's what I'm known for. Since you were talking about, like, you know, you have kids and you worry about what they're going to be exposed to and that. I recently fell upon a show that I've not even thought about it since the pandemic.
This is an idea for a show.
Nah, just a show that does exist.
Oh, I thought you were like pitching an idea for a show here.
Nah,
I was like,
I came across it. I was watching Bake Off the other day, which is the best show in this country.
it is good. I do enjoy watching
It's incredible. And while I was on 4OD, Married at First Sight is back on. Yeah. Now I've not thought about this show. Did you watch the Australian one during lockdown? Did you watch it?
Jesse's just obsessed with this.
But did you watch the Australian one during lockdown? Because it was incredible.
Yeah, I watched the Australian one because. But don't you think the standard of the Australian ones, as in the standard of people on there, is a lot better?
Yeah, it's way better.
It's like they've got fit people on there, whereas like
they're fit and they're mental. Like,
they're
mental.
the right combination to be entertained.
Yeah.
Whereas I kind of half watched an episode of the British one. I was like,
I don't mind that they're more of the everyday people, because you know what I mean. It gives a good canvas of the British scene. But there was a fascinating scene.
But
to me,
it's Married at First Sight. It's not first dates.
Yeah, but they pair you up. Like, I've not seen a pairing.
They don't
where
actually
it's
get
like,
married though, do they?
Nah, not legally.
Not legally.
Like,
so it's fucking bullshit.
Yeah, but like I've not seen a couple where like one of them's 10 out of 10 and the other one's clapped. Like, they match them up relatively well for like what's going on. But there was one scene in it that was crazy to me. Yeah, so they've paired up. Yeah, this geezer who described himself as like, yeah, a bit of a cheeky chappy. I don't think before I speak. Blah blah blah.
I know which guy you're on about.
The French geezer. And then they paired,
yes,
him
I've seen
up
this one.
with the most prudish woman that's ever lived. Like, she's still, you know what? For me, yeah, the first red flag would be the wedding day when she's 34 or 32, and she still calls her parents mummy and daddy. That, to me, I'm out. You know what I mean? That's too much. But they went on their honeymoon, yeah. And she goes,
I think I know what
yeah,
you're
crazy, because I want to know your thoughts on this. She says, how would you... Oh, all he said was, you look nice in your bikini. And she said, how would you feel if... no, sorry, I've butchered this, but it's important.
No, I know which bit you're talking about. This is probably the only bit that I've watched.
He said, you look nice in your bikini. And she said, so what did you think I did for a living when you first saw me? And he said, I assumed something in fashion or beauty. I didn't think it'd be the tech nerd that you actually are. And she was like, oh yeah, a lot of people think that. I was like, yeah. And she said, how would you feel if I made money posting my private parts online? And all he said was, I wouldn't mind if that's what you wanted to do. Which I think it's a very respectful, supportive answer.
Especially considering how much he knows her. Like, if they're married, but they barely know each other.
It's like, just like
he's been pushed into a corner there, hasn't
exactly.
he? There's no right answer.
She's asked the question, and he's just gone, if that's what you want to do, then that's what you want to do. I'll support you. And she's like, I don't like that. I can't believe you've said that. I don't think our morals align. And then stormed off and didn't speak to him for a whole day. And I'm like, you've created this hypothetical situation and then attacked the man for not answering the way that you want. It blew my mind.
That was the only bit of it that I watched, and that was where I was like, I can't, because it was on. I was like, I was like, look, I'll give it 10 minutes, and then I sat down and watched that, and I was like, I'm gonna go and read in the other room.
So
because it was like, how can you? It's like inventing a hypothetical situation for someone to be mad at. It's like, well, you could go on forever about. There's always gonna be something that you'd be. And that was quite a reasonable answer from what seemed like a bit of a muppet in terms of the guy.
It's the would you still love me if I turned into a worm, essentially.
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, I reckon I'd love you differently though. And she's going, you're a fucking piece of shit, mate, and I never want to speak to you again. And then she had to go in for something else later on. Like, I just couldn't be asked. But I suppose.
But there's no right answer. What would he have said if, like, oh, I'd be really pissed off?
His answer was the right answer.
His answer was the right answer.
It's your business. You do what you want to do. Like, I remember years and years and years ago, it came out that my ex at the time was a stripper, and she thought I was gonna switch, and I was just like, I don't give a shit. Like,
give me a
if I say you make money, then crack on, innit? I never had to pay for another meal, but like it's just a lot, and it got me thinking, because shout out Farhan Solo, piece of shit. He was messaged by some casting agents about, would you do Too Hot to Handle? No, if you do Married at First Sight. He was contacted by some casting agents saying, would you do Married at First Sight? And he said, nah, but here's a list of people who would. And he gave them mine and Raj's details.
Really?
And they contacted me and Raj and said, would you be interested in going on Married at First Sight? So if your life was just, you just got your job, and obviously you got your job, it's just you cruising, do you reckon you could do it having watched the show?
I just don't really see what value it would bring to my life.
So
it's kind of like Z-list shit, isn't it, really?
I don't even think it's Z-list, because they don't go on to become celebrities.
Some of them do. The ones in...
The Australian ones
do.
But that's because their entire TV industry is reality TV. All they make is reality TV, Neighbours and Home and Away. So, like, I'd
be worried about who they pair me up with.
That's a big concern. Okay, so...
Because that's like... That would be a big... You'd be taking it, do you know, if you like walk down the aisle and then...
Oh, yeah.
And then they're walking down the aisle and you turn around and you're like, fuck. No, okay. Is that really like is that the level that I'm playing at?
So that you've touched on a nerve here for me. So this is what I was thinking. So I was thinking this. I was thinking, like, would it be a laugh? Because the whole point of it is obviously, like, you know, these experts, who, by the way, are monsters. Like, these experts are literally like, the woman will basically be like, Jessica has, she's been hurt by every man she's ever gotten close to in her life. They've all walked out of her life. And Jonathan has crippling commitment issues, but I think if we put them together, and it's like, no, he's gonna break her heart, it's gonna crush her, it's gonna be awful.
It's like opposites attract, but this is like literally not that.
But this is what I was thinking. Yeah, you let me know if this runs with you. So part of me was thinking, like, would it just be a laugh? So, like, to see the experts, what they come up with for you, if they go, this person's got these personality traits that we think will complement you basically just you go off work, because I've looked into all of this. I was like, do they still get to work in the day?
So you probably you've actually considered it.
I was just fascinated by the logistics of it. Yeah. Like,
so did you apply?
Because they get locked into this. They get locked in an apartment building and and I was like, did they let them out to go to work?
Sounds like COVID.
You quit your job basically, which is a lot, but ignore that as well. But I did then think, like, if you perceive yourself at a certain standard based on either your own thoughts or your previous dating history or whatever, and then you're stood at the end of the aisle and you turn around, and yes, it's very derogatory in a lot of ways to rate people by numbers or whatever, but we're gonna do it.
But that's what the whole show's based around, isn't it?
If you're stood at the end of the aisle and you fresh trim in your best suit, and you turn around,
Same
and
goes
there's
for a girl as well.
Yeah, but yeah,
A woman.
it's true.
Sorry.
But you're in the hot seat. Yeah. You turn around and there's a 5 walking up. You know what? I'll be more reasonable. You turn around and there's just a 6.5 out of 10 walking up the aisle towards you. What's going through your head?
I'd be like, my boys are just gonna laugh at me when they see this on TV.
Yeah, that's a big one. But in that moment, because I think you touched on it before, and I was
your
thinking
face.
this
Imagine
the
the camera will be on your face. And
Yeah.
you're like,
because I was thinking this the other day. Would your first thought not be, rah? So the experts think that's me, yeah.
yeah.
Like the experts think that's me.
They think they're an expert.
They
and
think
that
I'm
this
that
is-
level. They think that I'm going to turn around and go, buzz in with that.
That's what it would be devastating.
Yeah.
It would be a big knock to your confidence, and then you would end up hating it anyway because you'd just be like, "I'm too good for who they pair me." And the same goes for like the opposite way when they're pairing them together, when they're walking. Can you imagine walking and then he turns around and you're like,
The most horrible thing, I think, and there's a bloke going through it at the minute on this series. He's a bit of a wetter. Like he's a proper, like he says it himself. He's a very rich, privileged private school boy, and he is a bit of a wetter. He is a bit soft. But they've paired him with this woman, and you know when you're looking at two people and you're like, you're both really nice, but I couldn't spend any time in the same room with you because it's just very dull. It's like they would complete the game siblings or dating. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's that vibe.
"Yeah,
But he's crippled by the fact that he's like, from the moment I turned around and she saw me, I knew she didn't fancy me. And he's
Yeah.
going through the whole thing.
because all you'd be thinking about is that like you can't really change that opinion over time, can you?"
But imagine the feeling of rejection of going up to someone in a bar and they go, "Nah, I'm not interested." But you have to live that every day. Every day you wake up and she looks at you like...
and it's recorded and it's going to be put out on TV. You're fighting a losing battle.
I just think it'd be funny. Like, but like not to be in it, to be like a proper fly
Who do
on
you
the
think
wall.
they would
you
pair
know
you
what I
up
mean?
with out of interest?
I don't know. Really?
I think they go for something really left field.
I'm also... What a man. Then just go, listen. Let's just throw shit at a wall and see what
That was the other
happens.
couple. This was the first series where I saw that they put a trans woman
Yeah.
in with the guy who's
Also, this is also a very interesting...
the guy's bisexual,
Pansexual.
pansexual,
So this is...
which
this
again is I don't know who the producers like putting that together. They're like, yeah, this would be really cool, when they're probably not really thinking that through as a pairing in the first place.
No, but that's like, they're probably to me as well like the other pairing that I'm like, that's the most interesting, because I'm in that. Like I'm probably gonna watch this now because I've just fucking stumbled across it. But the thing with that is that so the trans woman whose name I can't remember.
Quite hot though.
She's she's very pretty, but she's kind of like hypersexual. Like
Yeah.
all she talks about all the time is sex, and she's got this. And I reckon a lot of it comes from like past insecurities and stuff like that. But she's constantly pressing this geezer for being like, but are you attracted to me? You don't try it on with me. You never stick it on me. And he's like, because I've told you, I'm pansexual. Like my sexual attraction comes from the connection to the person, and it's kind of like everyone's leaning on her side by being like, yeah, but she's been really brave in telling you her journey and her story. And it's like, yeah, but like, why does he have to explain his sexuality then?
Yeah.
Like he's also got his shit going on. That one to me feels like a car crash waiting to happen. Like it's not gonna go well, and I'm here for it. I'm in there.
That's a weird one though, isn't it? Putting someone who really wants attention and affection with someone who
He's
doesn't
proper
go off
chill,
anything
man.
physical.
Yeah, he's proper chill. So the other one.
God, that would be annoying
Oh, yeah,
on her
yeah.
part. You'd just be like, fuck?
Yeah, just stick a finger in, you bastard. This cost me a fortune. You know what I mean? Like you'd feel like you'd wasted it. To be honest,
What happened to my investment?
You know what I mean? I would be pissed off. But I also, so the other one, the other casting directors were for that Too Hot to Handle, you know, the Netflix thing. So this also pisses me off. This makes me think of like
this pansexual thing. I don't know how does it work?
Pansexual is just that. I think it's like you're not asked about the gender of the person or anything. Once you've got that psychological connection with them, then you'll develop a sexual attraction to them as well. Yeah.
Mate, this sounds like we're fucking living in the future where you just connect through thoughts. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, listen,
we don't need our bodies. We just need our minds.
Listen, nothing gets me wetter than a game of online chess, mate. So it's
yes.
you know the drill. But yeah, have you seen that Too Hot to Handle on Netflix?
No, what's that?
I mean, it's basically Love Island, but you're not allowed to fuck.
That sounds boring.
Yeah, that's the other one. But it's starting to upset me that they just think I have a face for reality TV.
Why were you approached for that as well?
Yeah, and I just think it means that they look at me and they go, "He looks a bit of a cunt."
Yeah,
I reckon.
No, they just like he looks like he's going to do something wrong.
Yeah,
he looks like he's going to incriminate himself.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
He looks like he's got nothing to lose.
Yeah, so yeah, it looks like this could be his last Hail Mary.
Yeah, the last roll of the dice.
Fuck's sake. On a better, more interesting topic, I saw in the news earlier. You remember Abercrombie and Fitch?
Yeah.
The brand.
They've been through a bit of a renaissance.
What do you remember about their brand?
Like American uni kind of style, like open t-shirts.
What do you remember specifically about their marketing? So
quite sexualized.
The pictures, and they used to do a certain thing where members of their staff would be stood outside the shop. Do you remember much about that?
No, I can't remember that.
So it used to be they'd have like very boyish looking like hench abs, and they'd stand outside the shops in the skinny jeans. Just their skinny jeans, and they'd do it in city centres in the UK. You know what I mean? It'd be fucking coming into autumn. And
and this guy's
nipped
walking like Nippon Central.
So that was Abercrombie and Fitch. That was their big thing. So their former CEO was basically being like hit with some sting operation. That he used to have like a channel of groomers that would just arrange for like these like sexy boy men, hench action man looking people to just come to like these really grotesque sex parties and stuff at his house and stuff like that. And like people are starting to look into like the sexualization of their branding and shit because of this geezer.
Did he do anything criminal though?
I haven't got to the part where they say that he fucked kids.
Oh really?
But you never know really. But yeah,
these are all the things that come out. Imagine everything that just goes below the radar.
Yeah, so
he was probably in Epstein's book.
So he had apparently it was a well-oiled machine organising these events for him. He had recruiters.
But it was.
Yeah, a very well-oiled machine. Get the lube out. He had recruiters who would find men to attend his events, and they would receive between $500 and $1,000 for every referral that they made.
Mate, I work in recruitment.
Yeah, recruitment. Yeah, you're on commission.
Think I might change career paths.
You're on commission.
Do you know what I mean? Just change market.
Oh, the men were auditioned apparently. Which just meant they had to perform.
Did you do like a Magic Mike impression?
Yeah, there was he hired a personal groomer who would shave the men of all of their body hair before attending the party.
I mean, I quite like that. He's into.
That's where you went before Yacht Week. Just fucking go get it all.
Got the shoe shit. I'm not very hairy anyway, but yeah, I mean, like to make sure I'm streamlined.
Crazy. A small group of his personal staff who wore Abercrombie and Fitch uniforms at all times supervised the men, even during the sex acts, and handed them money throughout. Crazy.
Being handed money throughout. Sounds quite exciting.
Well, it's basically just him.
Can you imagine being a part of something like that? You're just there, like, how am I got here?
Yeah, but imagine you're just like, you've been in the gym for quite some time. You've been honing, sculpting your body into the work of art that it's become, and I know what you're about to talk about. So imagine that you're in you're not in it. You're approaching your mid-30s. Yeah, imagine, and you've got a good friend who we've met before who has soared the heights of the fashion world, and you one day, when you're approaching your mid-30s, go, you know what? I'm gonna change career paths. I'm gonna go to One Rebel Fitness and I'm gonna get hench so I can become an Abercrombie and Fitch model and attend these sex parties. So how is that journey going for you at the moment? How's that going?
That
Jason?
wasn't actually what I was going to go on to.
Oh,
but at the same time,
sorry.
yeah, I did go to a fitness class at the weekend.
Okay, how was it?
Oh mate, my body's in fucking bits.
Well, talk me
My
through
hamstrings are hurting. My abs are hurting. I hardly did abs.
So what is
hurting.
one Rebel?
It's
And
basically
thank you for
like
sponsoring this episode.
It's basically like it's basically like where white people go to get rid of the sins if they're not into like gospel
like a cult, okay.
or going to church on a Sunday morning.
Is it spin? Is it like spin? Is it
Yeah, it's
soul
like they had
cycle?
like a treadmill and then they had a bench and you alternated between the two. Honestly, mate, it's like the whitest thing ever. It's like
Where was it? Southwest.
it's at
Yeah.
High Street, Kensington, and
Oh, okay, all right. And you were taken aback that it was a white fitness cult.
yeah, but it's just like you're in there and the strobe lights are going. I thought I was starting to go because it was that intense.
Yeah. Why did you?
Do you know when you ever tried to run on a treadmill at like 14 kilometers an hour when the strobe lights are pumping?
Was this Saturday?
This is Sunday morning.
Oh, so I was crawling out of fabric Saturday morning, and 24 hours
Mate,
later you were going back
I was
here.
basically in fabric.
Yeah.
Except they were playing Darude, Feel the Beat. Can you remember that? They were playing that intense,
They've ruined that
loud,
for you.
10:30 in the morning, and I'm running 14 miles an hour on this treadmill on a gradient of 3.
14 miles an hour is pretty fast.
Or
to
14
run,
kilometers an hour on a gradient of 3, and I'm just trying to keep in the lines just so I don't fall off because I'm more worried. You have to really concentrate because you will fall off.
Have you got a class pass or something? Is that how you still
No, Mrs. has got
membership
where you can go to like a number of them, and I just used one of her passes,
I
but
regretted it immediately.
yeah, it was. You feel good after it, but it's just there's just something about it when you're in there. You're like, is this me now?
And is it the one where like they proper shout at you like drill instructors and
Yeah, they were like, right, come on now, you can do this. Forget that your dad hates you.
Yeah, that's just my
Your
inner
mum hates you
monologue.
as well, though.
Yeah, that's my inner monologue when I'm at the gym, basically.
Yeah,
I think I need
like a personal trainer, but a very personal trainer where they're just like whispering in your ear, like, yeah, your dad always thought you were going to be a pussy.
Yeah, prove him wrong.
Do one more rep.
Prove him wrong. One more set and you can beat fuck
Do
out of
one
him
more
at
set.
Christmas.
Remember when your girlfriend cheated on you?
So I do need a personal trainer, I think, but it is just to combat laziness.
Yeah, but you just need someone there to just tell you to get on with it.
Because I just go to the gym and then I'll do what I do, but like I don't really push myself. I just do
You
the
go
same
through the
thing every
motions.
time and just very much maintain.
It's just
a very
maintenance rather
bang
than-
average fucking physique.
At least when you go to one of those, you do come out and you're like, Jesus, I actually feel good after doing that.
Yeah, but it just feels like a lot of money to pay someone to shout at me. Like to shout stuff I already know, which is work
Yeah.
harder. You know what I mean? Add another 5 kilos. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just paying someone to do that.
Yeah, you are. It's accountability, isn't it?
You should come to my gym one day. It is mental. I've told you about it, ain't it? The big bodybuilding gym.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Do you think this is what I actually was going to talk about? Do you think if you're into bodybuilding and you look at that many pictures of men, you know, like you're obsessed with the male form, same maybe for women, it turns you gay?
I had this thought in the gym the other day. Genuinely, I thought it'd be quite funny.
What you thought? Oh, he's quite
Maybe
fit
I'm
actually.
gay. Yeah. Nah, here's the thing though. If you blokes in the
100%,
gym,
it's
blokes
gotta
in the
be.
gym
If
will
you're taking
admire other
steroids,
blokes.
looking at guys all day.
No, but even if you're in the gym, blokes in the gym will admire other men's physiques a lot more than they'll look at the women in there. You'll be looking at a bloke and you'll be like, how the fuck have you got your
Yeah,
chest
you'd be like,
that?
Jesus Christ, you seen the size
You know
of
what
his
I mean?
biceps?
Like you will be looking going, fuck it, he's in cracking shape there. And people talk, there's all these videos on the internet of like men perving on women in the gym. And I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm just saying like from what I see in my gym, which is like this big mutant freak show, it is just men in there just slapping each other on the back, being like, "You're fucking, oh man, how'd you get your delts like that, bro?" And I'm like, "What's a delt?" You know what I mean? But like, it's the thought I had the other day when I was in the gym was,
Am I gay?
nah, my old man, he sent me because he's always been obsessed with it, and like I remember I took him to a black tie dinner with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I thought he was going to shit himself. Like he's always been obsessed with like exercise and bodybuilding and martial arts and all that. and he sent me a link to some page, and it was just like a workout routine of some geezer doing all these exercises, but the page was called Buff Dudes. And I was just like...
Case closed.
Yeah, I was like, if anyone saw the shit that he sends me on a regular basis, it's all those pages, and they'd be like, is your old man gay? Like, and I'd be like, he could be. Like, I don't know.
Can you imagine if you sent him one by Buff Dudes too,
Buff
and it's just you
Dudes?
being railed?
You know what I mean? Like, Buff Dudes.
Sorry, Dad,
And
you
I was
drove
just
me to
like,
this.
Yeah, fair enough, mate. And he's been trying to get my mum to go to the gym for years, mate, because he wants it to be Quadzilla. You know
Should
what I
send
mean?
her Buff Dudes.
Yeah, but honestly, I don't think my mum would be invested as
But do you think it must do you know when your Instagram feed is just filled with men with the tops off doing poses? That's got to be informing something.
I don't know, because that's pretty much what mine was for the most part. Like, I deactivated my Instagram for a bit, innit? Because I was just tired.
Why? Because you're afraid.
I was just tired of looking at me. Yeah, I was tired of. I was afraid of turning gay. I was just spending too much time on it before I get rid of it. But no, like before, there was no in between. It was just comedy videos if you want to follow, memes, or just big hench geezers in the gym. That's all it was.
That's pretty mine like that, and maybe with like some film stuff thrown in.
Yeah, but
it's weird because when you speak to a lot of women, they will think that. But this is not speaking for men, because I know blokes who just follow those accounts. But to me, just as it might it could turn you gay from looking at men all the time. Same if you're looking at women all the time. That just turns you into a bit of a freak, really. To the point where it's just like, what do you even... Like, when I'm looking at these photos now, it comes back to when you were talking about you're 13 and you just don't get anything off it anymore. It's like, because we're so sexualized now, like, looking at that doesn't do anything for me anyway.
But
it doesn't really make me think, oh my God, I love to be with her. It's just like, just a photo.
Yeah, but I've got mates who, like, every now and then you'll be on your explore page or something, and you'll see like I don't know, like that Emily Ratajkowski or whatever her name is. You know the one I'm on about.
Yeah.
She'll pop up or something.
They'll sneak ones into your explore page,
and you'll click on it, and then it'll be like someone I used to play football with liked this picture. And then I remember seeing it and being like, the fuck is this? And I clicked on her account and I'm scrolling through her pictures and he's like liking every one of her pictures. And I'm like, what's your end goal here?
Why?
Bro? Like, are you hoping that she'll spot you, father of two, living in Birmingham and be like, actually, this is where I've been going
It's just
on.
like never stop dreaming, isn't it?
Yeah,
But it's like, you've got to, in order to achieve a dream, you've got to be some steps towards...
You got to start somewhere. But like, I feel like it's started a bit
his
too
dreams,
small.
mate. It's ridiculous, isn't it? It's like, what... Why? Why are you liking this photo?
Why are you just like...
Why have you looked at that photo and thought, I'm going to double tap this?
Yeah, like I've got friends who like still model now, and like most of their shit, I'm like, oh, you've done something impressive. I'm not liking it because I'm just like, I don't give a shit. Like it makes you sound like a hater, but it's kind of like, I'm not gonna go on like fucking like Kelly Brook's fucking Instagram and just fucking like all
love
of
your
that
work.
shit. You know what I mean? Like, fuck, I remember you in Piranha 3D. Like, it's not, I just don't get why people do it. To be honest, I much prefer hate watching stuff on the internet, which is probably indicative of me and my mental health. But like, you know, I enjoyed watching Britney Spears have her breakdown, and I'm looking forward to her memoirs being published. Like, I like watching Carol Vorderman.
She definitely need a ghostwriter.
Yeah.
What's Carol Vorderman doing on TikTok?
Just first traps, mate. It's incredible.
Really?
Like, yeah, like she got like an Instagram and a TikTok like about 6 months ago. And like her first post is like her tits out in a swimsuit, and she's like, "Oh, don't really know what I'm doing on here." And I'm like, "You fucking know.
Yeah, you know what you're doing.
You know, we'll have two big ones from the top.
She'll have some. Is she married? Like, she'll have some toy boy pretty soon, won't she?
Don't know.
Be some like 25-year-old rugby player who can't make it into the England side.
Couldn't tell you, but I don't know what she's doing now after Countdown. Yeah, don't know. My old man used to refer to Carol Vorderman as the thinking man's crumpet. So yeah, is what it is. And I used to go to school with a kid who had a Carol Vorderman.
Before he sent you buff dudes.
Yeah, that's before buff dudes bled into his brain. Yeah, I used to go to school with a kid as well who had a Carol Vorderman countdown poster in his room.
I mean,
he went to prison. It's all relative, really, isn't it?
Yeah. He didn't do the maths, did he?
Nah, it's terrible at the maths round. Oh, a kid I went to school with went on Countdown. It was his episode of Countdown got aired last week, And he's a primary school teacher, but he's got a maths degree, I think. And he went up against the secondary school English teacher, and I was like, "Well, you're gonna get smoked." You know what I mean? And he cleaned up on the numbers round, but it's a word game.
Oh yeah, that is
He lost, but shout out
but at least
Jack
he won the
Shepherd.
numbers.
Yeah, fair play, Jack Shepherd. Yeah, he did all right. He lived his dream. Proud of him. Yeah. I ain't really got. I mean, we're coming towards the end of the episode. Let's do quick fire. Since it's just the two white guys, let's figure out what are the whitest things we've ever done.
That was up there at the weekend. I'm not joking. Like, there's things that I do now. There's things I've done the last couple of weeks. Go to a dog show in Parsons Green.
Go on a yacht party in the Med.
That was very diverse actually, because
that's good.
It was hip hop week and it was 90% American.
Okay, that's good.
So it was extremely diverse.
Yeah, I enjoy that. Okay, the dog thing's very white.
Dog thing very white.
You ever let a dog kiss you in the mouth?
No, that's just rank.
That's too white.
Yeah.
Should have bought that up last
I mean,
week.
I let it lick my balls. Yeah, fine.
Crazy. Oh my word.
But yeah, those classes are, when I'm in there, I'm like, this is not good.
Would you?
It's not good for my brand.
Would you swim with sharks? Like, would you go in a shark cage?
Why is that a white thing?
Apparently, it is.
Oh, is it?
According to the internet, like Black Twitter is very vocal on those kind of activities. So, like, I would quite like to go to Cape Town, get in a shark cage, and have a little mooch.
Why is that like a?
Because Black Twitter is like, you ain't catching black people doing anything. Like, if they're like, there's a possibility that I could get eaten by a great white shark. Black Twitter is like, well, then I simply won't go in the shark cage then, because then I won't get eaten. But they're like, so they've got a theory of like, whenever you see a story that's like, man snorkeling off Cape Town, shark infested waters, eaten by a snake. They've got this theory, which is like, I don't even need to open that article to know that was a white person. I think it is true. I think there is a lot of weight to that.
I think there's a lot of synergies here as well, in terms of just like, I feel like white people, because they've never had to face any struggle or oppression in their life, they just have to seek out things.
Yeah, they create hardship.
They create hardship. Like, that's why do white people cycle all the time? Like,
yeah, look at Burning Man. When they were like, oh my God, it's rained at a festival and it's all flooded, and white people are talking about being stranded. And we're like, cool,
it's like, literally, you're like a 4-mile walk from somewhere. You could just walk out of it.
Honestly. I tell you what I saw in LA as well. I don't know if I mentioned this last week. It was a sign that was like, take this exit on the freeway. It was like, take this exit for the such and such ketamine therapy clinic. So I googled it afterwards, and
did you try and find your way there? But no one found the way there.
No one finds their way back. Yeah. Like, fucking the thing is, like, it's just the most LA fucking thing, isn't it? It's like, because ketamine's a dissociative drug, they're now using it, I think, in a similar way to how they use like ayahuasca and stuff like that.
But they're using it at very low doses, aren't they? Where you'd be like in a trip, but it would be like a supervised trip.
Like you're not walking around a festival feeling like your legs are still.
It's like instead of renting a car when you're on holiday, it's like you get a driver instead.
Yeah, but this is just the thing that got me as well with LA. It's like they've got ketamine therapy clinics, and we've just got kids in bucket hats doing ketamine fields in this country. Yeah. And them
self-medication
kids are thriving as well. You know what I mean? So fair play to them. That was basically the field that I could never find you in at Glastonbury.
Yeah.
The one time I walked through the dance field, and it was like a different festival. Like, everywhere else was like this nice symbiotic festival, and then the dance field was just a load of Manx and Scousers in IKEA bucket hats, just two-stepping doing ket, and I was I might not come back.
Do you used to be like that?
Yeah, next year. You gonna try and go next year?
No, I'm not going.
Are you not?
I've not got enough holidays.
You're a coward. It's a long weekend.
I know.
Just go back to work on
and
Monday.
I've got a wedding on the Sunday.
No, I'll go for you.
Look, it's TBC.
I'll go for you.
We'll see what we can do.
I'll send you a video.
Maybe I'll just go for 2 days.
Yeah, do that.
Maybe just go Thursday.
Meet you in the dance field. All right, thanks for listening. Me and Jason are going to go and arrange our pickup for next year. I think we're not here next week, are we?
I think we'll sort something out.
We'll figure it out, but we should be back to the full contingent. That's the word. Obviously, after our ending to this episode, I'll ask Raj what the browniest thing that he's ever done is next week for balance, because we're very diverse. But yeah, thanks for listening. Yeah, share all the stuff online and all that business. Yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure, not a chore. I'm gonna go and
what a thrilling outro. Joe. Thank you.
I'm gonna go home and watch Buff Dudes on Instagram. So if you want to meet me there, I'll see you there. See you later, guys.
See ya. I'm gonna go and do some more white stuff. I think. Cool.
Yeah, watch Buff Dudes. Goodbye.
This has been the Word on the Streets. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.